Hello everyone. Let's have a quick look through the information about the presentation assignment, some of the topics and the assignment details to get a sense of what I'm expecting you to do for this assignment. So here we are on the course homepage on Blackboard. We'll click through the assignment info folder. We can see again the list of documents that explain the expectations for all of the assignments. You should definitely have already read this material. If you have not, please do so soon. Here's the presentation assignment. We'll click through that and we'll have a look through this. Let me zoom in a little bit. So your presentation assignment asks you to prepare a 5-minute presentation, 5 minutes in length. That's for 7.5% of your total grade, and there's a list of presentation topics on the Blackboard homepage. We'll look at that in a minute. So this presentation is your opportunity to practice designing, organizing, and delivering an online presentation. Obviously, since this is an online class, you won't be delivering your presentation to a live audience, but you'll be pre-recording it in some way using your choice of presentation programs. So you could use something like PowerPoint or Prezi. There's also many other options like Google Slides or Mac-based ones if you're an Apple user. What you use to create the presentation is up to you. If you've never used any of these programs, I'd suggest starting with either PowerPoint or Prezi. They have a fairly low barrier to entry. I've never used Slides, but I think it's also fairly simple. So you could do something like design a PowerPoint presentation based on your topic, just like you would for an in-class presentation. The only difference is because this is an online class, you then have to record yourself delivering that presentation. There are a few different ways you could do this. If you wanted to do it standing in front of a camera and speaking with the PowerPoint on a screen behind you or something like that, you could certainly do that. But there are much easier ways to do it using screen capturing programs, just as I'm doing right now for this video. I'm using Camstudio, which is a free and open source and very simple to use program. You can also add voice narration to most presentation software like PowerPoint and Prezi give you the opportunity to record your voice over the slides, so you could also do that. Whenever you are talking during a presentation, you should be doing more than just reading the slides. You want to be expanding on the visual material, just as you do in any other kind of presentation. As I mentioned, most presentation programs allow voice narration recording of some kind. Once you've completed your presentation and you've recorded yourself delivering it, you'll be required either to upload it or link to it. Probably the easiest thing for us to do is to simply upload it to YouTube and then share the link with everyone under the presentations tab in the Submit Assignments Here folder on Blackboard. We can explore doing other formats for sharing, but the main thing is we want everyone in the class to be able to see your presentation, and YouTube is probably the most widely used format or platform for that. If you've never used PowerPoint or you don't have a copy, it's available free to all NIC students through the Microsoft Office offer. So as a college student, you get a free version of Microsoft Office. PowerPoint is part of Microsoft Office. Click that link there to figure out how to download it. You can also sign up for a free Prezi account, which will do everything you need. Again, I haven't used Google Slides, but it's a free Google program. If you have a Gmail account, just sign in there and check out Slides. And I imagine you'll probably be able to add audio to that as well. So if you want to do something like produce a video like I'm doing right now, you can use Camstudio, which is a really simple, really easy to use, free and open source screen recording program. All you do is download the program, open up the thing that you want to present or what you want to record on your screen and hit record, and then select the area that you want to record on your screen. So right now I've just selected this particular window. I have Camstudio running over here. I can show you what it looks like. There we go. It shows how it's recording this particular thing I'm saying right now. I'll move it over there. If you do use Camstudio, there's the NIC Office deal. If you do use Camstudio, you'll probably want to download it from the Camstudio website. There was a few years ago, there were some suggestions that various types of malware were embedded in some downloads from sites other than this. So if you're going to use it, do probably link to it from the site. Generally, these presentations are only worth about 5% of your course grade, but I've increased the value to 7.5% to take into account the added sort of technical benefit, technical element of narrating and recording and uploading. That'll take you some time to figure out if you haven't done those things before, so I just made it worth a little bit more to balance that out. Do let me know if you're having technical difficulties and we can work through them. If you're on one of the NIC campuses, the upload speeds, if you're uploading a video to YouTube, will probably be a lot faster than through a home account, through a Shaw or TELUS account. So if you are on campus, then that might be more useful. You can certainly do it from home. YouTube is a great resource for tutorials or for projects like this. So if you're having trouble figuring out how to use PowerPoint or how to use Prezi to deliver your presentation, jump on YouTube and find some tutorials. There's a ton of material out there. So the focus of your presentation, or the task that you're actually doing in your presentation, is to give a thorough introduction about the topic you've chosen, or the topic that I've assigned to you. You don't have to be an expert on the topic, but you do need to know enough to explain it thoroughly to the rest of the class. Let's have a quick look at the topics so we know what we're talking about. Back to the home page. Here are the presentation topics and schedules. So if you're assigned the first one, PowerPoint, I want you to tell me about PowerPoint, how to use it, a bit of history, how it might be useful to students in the class. And that's due by February 20th. Also on February 20th, I want someone to introduce MindMeister. February 27th, someone's going to talk about Google Drive, Dropbox, etc. This is the schedule of the presentations. This is when they're due. These are the topics that you are going to talk about. So for the first one, you might actually be using PowerPoint to talk about PowerPoint, which is absolutely fine. And later, someone might be talking about Dropbox, using PowerPoint, or maybe using Prezi, or maybe using Google Slides, or any other presentation software that's available. So like I said, the task is to provide a thorough introduction about the topic. You might provide some history or background information about the topic, give some examples of the thing. Most importantly, explain why your topic is important or relevant to university or college students and their writing. And that applies to this class and beyond. So why is Grammarly important? Why is Evernote important? Why might it be useful to students? How could archive.org be useful for students doing research in a class such as English 115? What's Turnitin for? What's Scrivener? Most people aren't particularly familiar with most of these topics, so start out by introducing yourself and explaining basically what the thing is that you're talking about, then moving into maybe some history, and then describing how it would be useful to students in the class. Again, you only have 5 minutes to do this, so it's going to be fairly short. You could offer a brief critique of the thing. You could raise some questions about this subject for the class to consider. You could describe alternative tools. So if you're using PowerPoint, you might talk about Prezi or Slides or any of the other presentation platforms I've mentioned. For software products or online tools, which is most of the topics, it's often effective to provide an interactive, what I might call walkthrough of the product or tool. So show us how to use it. If you're talking about archive.org in the video you produce for the class, go to archive.org and show us what it looks like. Show us what a simple search on archive.org looks like. So show us what Google Scholar looks like, or what Dropbox looks like, It's always more effective to show than to tell. You could also link to other videos, but don't let the videos take over your presentation. It's a 5-minute presentation. If you show a 3-minute video, we don't really get much of your voice, and what we want is to hear from you. Don't let these dominate your presentation. If you want to circulate a longer video ahead of time, we can post an announcement about it. We can post it somewhere on Blackboard if you want people to have a little bit of background before coming to your presentation. When I'm marking these presentations, I marked on the content of your presentation. So what have you said about the topic? And on your presentation method, your delivery, your kind of online presence as a presenter, the effectiveness and the use of visual aids if relevant, which it will be for these topics because we're doing this all online. So to sum, a 5-minute presentation about these topics, whichever one you happen to be assigned. Create a presentation, walk us through your presentation, record that, and then upload it either to YouTube or some other shareable platform. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of this, please let me know and we'll work through it together.